Hi all, let's talk about Dark Souls. Dark Souls is a pseudo-sequel to a PlayStation 3 exclusive game that is available on PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and of course the PC. This game is known for its difficulty and for being a hack-and-slash RPG. When you start the game, you are given many classes to choose from. None of these classes actually matter, as you can do whatever you like with your character, but they are basically just a starting point for whatever you might have in mind. You are also given the option to fully customize the look of your character. This also doesn't matter because you'll be wearing heavy armor the whole time and not be able to see any of the details that you sweat over when you're making your character. That's pretty much par for the course in any modern RPG game, but, worth mentioning. So now the game starts, and you're in a place called the Undead Asylum. Some guy has the great idea to throw you a key, because when someone's undead and in an asylum, there's no chance that they're insane and you will immediately regret giving them the key. So you use that key to get out of the cell and go through the game's very basic and brief tutorial level that is the Undead Asylum. At the end of this, before you can leave, you have to fight a giant demon that has a huge ass and a very small set of wings, but can still kind of fly and jump around for some reason. Once the ass demon is dead, you are free to walk outside the asylum and immediately be picked up by a giant raven. The raven takes you to the real start of the game, a place called Firelink Shrine that is midway up a mountain. Before you move on with the game, there are several people here you may want to interact with. A mute woman in a cage. A downtrodden man in Chainmail that has a lot of information about what you're supposed to do despite having never left or done anything, and you're never given an explanation for how exactly he got this information, but he tells you you need to ring 2 church bells, apparently. He doesn't tell you why you need to ring these bells, he just tells you you need to do that, and again, no one else references this or this NPC, so how he got the information is really up to speculation. The one bell he's talking about you can actually see from where you're standing when talking to him. The other one is underground somewhere, so how he knew about the underground one is a little odd. The last person to talk to is a heavyset priest. He won't help you unless you convert to his particular faith, and if you pay him a large amount of in-game currency. So he's basically like a real holy man. So now that you've met everyone there is to meet at this point, you are now given the illusion of choice. You could take a trip down a stone elevator to a flooded city, however, you have no way of fighting off the ghosts that are waiting for you down in the flooded city. The second option you have is to go into a graveyard and down into a catacomb, but the enemies waiting for you are just far too strong for you to handle. You could fight them, but you ain't gonna last long. So your only real option is to go up a little hill to a staircase and into the Undeadburg. As you might guess, it's a city filled with the living dead. But the good news is they are weak enough that you can actually fight and win. As you make your way through the city here, you are teased with a large red dragon. You can't actually fight it, it just lands, looks at you, and continues to fly on. You find a crazy undead merchant that sells nothing of any real value, trinkets mostly, and as you find yourself moving further up the mountain and out of Undeadburg, you are faced with a boss fight on a bridge connecting 2 towers. The fight is with a Minotaur. If you talk to the undead merchant, he'll tell you that this Minotaur came from the underground. However, that doesn't make any sense. There is no path leading to this area from either side that would have enough room for this giant Minotaur to have gotten here. He is huge, and all the doorways to and from this area are intact, and are sized for regular people, not giant Minotaurs. But anyway, once you kill the cow furry from hell, you are now about halfway to reaching that first bell mentioned earlier. It is at this point that you meet a sun-obsessed knight, who wants to befriend you and informs you that time in the area of this game is a little jumbled, which I guess is justification for enemies respawning and the somewhat skittish timeline you're presented with. But anyway, after you talk to him, you are now properly introduced to that dragon from earlier. You can technically fight him now, but that's not a good idea. You're too weak, and he will easily kill you. So you need to carefully, and with some good timing, run past him and into the next area, the Undead Parish. As you might guess, this area is vaguely church-themed and filled with lots of undead. This area is very straightforward, but there are a few things to do before rushing into the next boss fight. Looking around a bit, you'll find a key to the next area you need to go to, after ringing the bell, that is. You'll find a man that is imprisoned within the church, who is clearly not a nice man, but might serve a purpose later if you free him. And you'll find a stereotypical blacksmith, who might be of use to you depending on your character build at this point. So, after all that, you can go do the boss fight. If you want, you can have that sun-obsessed knight from earlier come and help you for this fight, which might be a good idea, as this boss fight is not one, but two flying, fire-breathing gargoyles. The thing is, these things can fly, so why are they waiting here guarding the bell tower? Couldn't they take turns going to the starter area at Firelink Shrine and peck off the prospective heroes that get dropped there? I get that they need to guard the tower, but it seems like one of them can handle that while the other one makes their job easier with some killing in another area. I wouldn't bring this up, but I mean, they can fly. I mean, there's nothing keeping them on the rooftop protecting the bell tower. I mean, they could fly anywhere they want. But anyway, once you and the solar fetishist finish killing them, you can now climb the bell tower and ring the first bell. Here's where we're going to end part 1. We will cover the steps towards the second bell you need to ring in the next video. When the next video actually comes out, I'll put an annotation link here somewhere for, people to click on to get to it.